What up, everybody? This is Dick Invictus here. Welcome to the Black Belt Barber podcast, the first and only podcast about entrepreneurship for barbers and beauty professional. This podcast is sponsored by Invictus Podcast Studios. Follow me, Tico Invictus, on Instagram. Today, we have some very specific topic. We're going to discuss it here today with my boy Justin. He rents out
What up?
a suite, and today we're gonna talking about the pros and cons about between barbershop versus suite rental. So just introduce yourself, share who you are, and how you became a barber.
Well, hello, everybody. Name is Justin Condinanzo. My Instagram name is Sunshine Snips. People know me by Sunshine. A little bit about me. I've been a barber or in the industry for about 10 years now. How I became a barber was actually, it was just a time in my life where, honestly, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any desire or clue of doing anything.
Do you have any
as far as-
background, like in your family?
No, I am first generation barber, first generation hairstylist. So that's I thought about. I just came to mind, and I was like, I have a friend of mine that became a barber during high school, and that thought came to mind. So I was like thinking about, if he can do it, then I can do it too. So let me go ahead and try this out, see what it is. I spoke to my parents, told them about the idea. They were supportive about it, but they were like, I have a friend of mine that owns a salon. Think about, going to talk to him about it, see what he thinks, and then you can work with there. So I spoke to the salon owner, and he pretty much bribed me into becoming a hairdresser. So I started off being a cosmetologist, studied that, and then
So you do women's hair?
I do women's hair.
Like Tico.
I have a background of cosmetology too.
Okay.
So go ahead, finish on. I
Yeah.
cut you off.
No worries. I think that's actually a good thing that we started off with the women's hair. To be honest with you.
Yep.
I started doing that for the first 2 years. It was definitely different. I feel like women's industry is a little. It takes a little while to build up, right? I mean, building up a clientele compared to men's hair. Men love to get their hair cut very often, right? They're coming in either weekly, bi-weekly, every 3 weeks, monthly. Women, I mean, to get a woman to cut her hair is like every 6 months,
Every 6 months.
maybe a year.
What about
At most,
the
but
blow dries?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you do a lot of blow dries?
I did a lot of blow dries. I mean,
Tico
I worked
loves
as
blow dry, right,
yeah.
I hate it. But that puts
He did my hair.
But that puts
No,
us.
he didn't.
I didn't blow dry her hair, but I did
Yeah.
cut. That puts us, not only me and you, but whoever has cosmetology background,
Right.
because now the combination of clipper work and scissor work
Mm-hmm.
and the blow dry and styling, that the whole thing combined.
Right.
Right?
It's a huge advantage that puts us ahead of barbers that grew up, at least for the past decade or so.
Did you do colors too? Did you do everything?
So that's something I never got into, because when I worked at the salon only spoke Spanish. And at that time, I didn't really understand Spanish very well. So it's like I had to either learn how to do color and learn how to speak Spanish as well.
That's
so
funny.
it's like, all right, you know what? I'm just sticking to the fundamentals, blow drying. Cutting has always been something that intrigued me, and that's what I stuck to. So going to school and all that stuff, I stuck to cutting hair.
So you're the only person that didn't speak Spanish?
Practically.
Whoa.
I mean, some of them spoke English, but most of them only spoke Spanish.
So now
it
you
was
do
like
speak Spanish, right? A little bit.
a little bit. Yeah, I can defend myself.
That's
I can defend
interesting.
myself.
You know,
It's
little
funny.
bit.
You're the only one there not speaking Spanish.
yeah, not speaking Spanish. Everybody's speaking Spanish, and I'm like, what are they saying? Being 20, 21 years old, you're still young.
Cool.
But
How long did you stay there?
let me
With
see. So,
women's hair.
oh, in women's hair,
Yep.
I did that for 2 years. So about 2013, I was licensed in 2012, and then about 2013, 2014 is when I branched off into started redirecting myself to men's hair, and then I started working at a barbershop at around that time.
And why was that? Why did you change?
Um,
What
well,
made you decide?
at the moment, actually, my ex-wife was pregnant with my daughter, and the pressure was on, so I had to start making money somehow, some way. It's either I continue being a barber or a hairdresser, or I find another job or career.
So you thought
'Cause
going with men's hair would be more profitable for you
at the time,
at the
yeah.
time?
That's what
I mean, I wouldn't say. I've always known that women's hair is more profitable.
Yeah.
It was just more of a time essence, right? Like I needed to.
But I think you need to build up more clientele in terms of women's.
Right.
I believe that to
Right.
make more money because they take
Exactly.
longer to come back.
Exactly. Well, it's just the difference in services, right? Like
True.
women's hair, you would have to try to accumulate or acquire more clients for coloring services.
Yeah.
The better, the more they come in for coloring service, the more profitable it will be, because women usually tend to style their own hair. They don't get haircuts very often because they like to grow their hair out. So you have to find other ways of getting them in.
Yeah.
But it was just a time essence where I had to start making money, and men's hair was something that just clicked for me. It was just something that, like, I knew from the start. I understood. I mean, just being a man, you know what to look for, how to shape men's hair and stuff like that. So it resonated with me a lot easier.
It did happen the same thing with me. I had around like 70% women's, and I had around 30% of men's. But I wasn't making that much money back then in 2010. I had to switch to barbering too.
Okay.
So it happened the same. So how was the percentage in between men's and women's you had when you switch?
Oh man, I mean, I would say 10%.
Was woman?
10% was women. Yeah.
So
maybe not even, maybe 5%.
Wow.
It was very difficult.
To switch, right?
Yeah.
Because it really hits your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just that pressure of, like, having to, now you're going to become a father, you need to, start picking up the responsibilities and stuff like that, really hit. And I was like, I got to figure something out, And I was like, okay, well, let me start practicing on my brothers. Let me start talking to my friends, like asking them to let me cut their hair for free, so that way I can get my name out there. And I would just start offering deals, offering house calls and stuff like that. And it was just a hit from there.
What did you do? You call them up, all the women, and say, I'm not...
Well, I mean, there wasn't really much to I didn't
Explain.
really have a big clientele, so it wasn't even a bother. And most of the women clientele that I had, they were more of the salon's clientele. So they were just like, I was just servicing them because they went to the salon. It wasn't even personally my clientele.
So it wasn't bad
No,
leaving them.
exactly.
Because Tico had a hard time
Exactly.
leaving the female clients. They
I
got
mean,
upset.
They definitely missed me washing their hair, though. I can tell you that much.
Does any woman listen to this right now?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe all women out
Why
there.
do you think they miss?
I'm actually single.
I'm actually single.
You know.
So whoever's watching, good looking Justin, he's my motto, my best motto.
Yeah, Tico's the man. Tico's the man.
Jesus. I'm glad Tico doesn't work with female clients anymore. Because when he was young and single, that was dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It is. It could be. I mean, definitely women love male hairdressers.
I've worked at this American salon too.
Mhm.
The ladies, they used to love when I wash their hair.
Mm-hmm.
Tip me good.
Oh.
Roll up the eyes. Ooh.
Why you don't wash my hair like that?
They like rough. You don't like rough? She
No.
don't like.
Tico makes my face all wet. He's like, "Arr,"
See,
and
she don't like. She like
scrubbing.
very
She likes the gentle.
And then when he blows dry my hair once every 3 years, he burned my scalp or
Oh,
something
no.
like that.
Oh,
And then
no.
he heat the brush on my forehead.
You know why I do that?
I think he
'Cause
does
I
on
don't wanna do
purpose.
Because you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'll make her mad, and then
Yeah. He doesn't like doing my hair.
It's different, yeah. I mean, you don't pay him that much.
I do. I pay him with love.
Love.
Ah.
That's what he
She's
says.
lying.
That he
She's
pays
lying.
me
It's
with
enough.
love.
It's enough. It's enough. It's enough. I'm sure.
So when I was working at this American salon, I did that for a year there, and when I switched to women's, just to barbering, I called all them up, and then they said, you can't do that with me.
Yeah.
You're the only one that knows how to do my hair. I used to do keratin,
Yeah.
coloring, and stuff, but I wasn't that good at coloring.
Yeah.
I was more good at cutting, blow drying, and shaping and styling.
Right.
And they got mad.
I
What
get-
about you? They got
I got
mad at
mad-
you too?
yeah. I mean, I feel like I think when it comes to women's like hairdressers and stuff like that, like in hairdressing, they're very loyal when it comes to
Yeah.
like once they find who they like, it's like
Yeah.
they'll go to the end of the world
Anywhere.
with anywhere.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, and they'll pay whatever price too.
Tico has a client that drives far from Tampa. She drives 4 hours once every 6 weeks.
Yeah,
To
now
see
because
him.
she got like really short hair, like ours, and she drives like from Tampa.
She
Oh, wow.
comes
Yeah.
every 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, I think my farthest client was West Palm Beach. And that's,
West
I
Palm
mean,
Beach. 1 hour drive.
That's
It's
an
a
hour
long drive.
Yeah. I appreciated him to come down because it was like he would come down every 2 weeks,
Wow.
2 to 3 weeks. So
Wow.
yeah,
It's amazing when they're loyal.
no, absolutely.
Justin, what is your opinion about? We had the transition before 2013.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't raised the barbers.
Right.
Barbers just barber. They're doing fades and beard
Right.
before that, and hairdresser was the one that only used shears. They were like they really good at shears and cutting long hair.
Right.
So now, after 2013, there's this combination of clipper work and scissor work. Since we are talking about we are in an advantage because we already had that background. What
Mhm.
your opinion about that? The barbers today that focus on just fading and don't want to like learn, and they're not hungry to see this other side,
I mean, I think
and how much is beneficial for their clients and
right.
revenue.
Well, I think in my opinion, if you're not willing to grow within the industry, you're gonna get left behind, right? I mean, it is what it is. This industry, the barbering industry, the hair industry, it's constantly growing. It's constantly changing. There's new techniques every single
New
year.
trends,
New
products.
trends, products. It is what it is. And if you don't adapt and you don't have that willingness to learn and grow, you're gonna be left behind, and you're only gonna be limited to the clientele that you have and want, per se. But I mean, again, that's up to you, right? It's all about choice.
Why do you think some barbers are not into learning more about shears? Why do you think they don't take the step to just go and learn?
I think it's fear. They're scared of messing up, failure,
And being in a
You know?
comfort zone too.
being not getting out of that comfort zone.
Change is uncomfortable.
It is, but that's how you grow. That's how you get better. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions.
What are
in
the
order to grow.
benefits you see when someone can use the clipper and combine with the shear work? What's the benefits you can,
I mean,
say?
the sky's pretty much the limit. At that point, it's like you know how to use every single tool. It puts you in an advantage. So whenever that specific clientele that sits into your chair, you understand what tool you need to use and
what technique
and
you
what
need to...
correct. And especially this industry is all about artistic freedom, correct? Like you get to create and be artistic in every way. You get to customize the haircut to that person's personality, the way they dress.
That suit the person.
That suits the person the best. So I feel like that's a benefit to you and your price range, your value. It only increases your value.
I really believe that we all have the same opportunity because we have the same 24 hours
Right.
per day.
Absolutely.
right? And I see there's a lot of like new barbers like standing out and being successful, and some people just like being in a comfort zone.
Mhm.
What do you suggest someone to get out of the comfort zone and be someone? It's not just making more money, but actually be that person that can create anything that suits your client, not just focus in one type of client.
Right.
Short fade or even just sheer work, you
Mhm.
know.
I feel like so it's a funny thing is because like when 2012 2013 hit, that's when that shift started changing where like you had more hairdressing and barbering combining, and you had to learn about shear work, and you had to learn. So my weak point per se was actually learning how to fade hair, right? I didn't know how to hold not hold the clippers, but just like work with the quick with
Mine was the same.
the clippers and stuff like that. So that was scary to me, and I was like, oh man, like I don't want to mess up. I would take about 3 hours on a haircut just to make sure that the fade was actually flawless or perfect to my liking, right? I mean, who knows what everybody else thought of the fade, but I could have given somebody a nice cucaracha in the back of their head or a nice little bald spot, but
I used to work at this Dominican place.
yeah,
When they see a messed up haircut, they call bombero.
bombero.
Yeah, I don't know why. Still don't know why. But they used to say when someone walks out of the shop
Was a
with
bum?
was like, woo, woo, woo. We used to do that with each other.
Oh gosh.
They used to do that to me all the time because I didn't know how to cut hair back then, like
Yeah.
professionally. And they used to do woo, woo, woo. Peter, this guy, like a bombero was a bad haircut, you know.
Oh, man. No, yeah.
I never shared that, right?
No.
Funny.
Oh my god.
But I would suggest, I mean, if you feel uncomfortable, one is letting go of your pride, right, and ego, because I feel like that's a big problem in our industry is that we have a lot of ego. We think we know it all. We think we don't need to take extra classes or seek out for help or anything like that, right? And especially as men, always prideful in ourselves. Like we think we don't need help, right? But what's the problem with seeking out and actually learning from somebody and actually gaining more knowledge, getting better? There's always something that you can do better with yourself, right?
There's always a room to learn, to grow.
Absolutely.
Always, with anybody.
One thing I don't like about the industry is that part that I feel like hairdressers are more united than barbers.
Mhm.
And hairdressers are always going to shows and learning new color techniques, and barbers not as much.
Mhm.
Not as much as they should be doing. And they don't help each other. They see each other at competition. This bothers me because we're not competitors.
Right.
We're all part of the same group. Let's,
I think that's just I think it's a masculine trait or a man trait, you know? Like we're very
Maybe.
competitive
yeah.
when it comes to things like that, I guess. I mean, it's I don't think it's the right thing, you know? We should be
It's only a loss.
It's only a loss. you know?
Exactly. Because we
And-
can learn from each other. We can
Exactly.
help each other.
And there's plenty of clientele for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of money, there's plenty of people.
There's hair for everybody.
There's hair for
to cut.
everybody. There's like, I have plenty of clientele that I actually have one of my old apprentices, a guy that I taught how to cut hair, and you know, people that call me up and they're asking me to fit them in that I don't have space. I'm like, hey, look, go to these people, because if I don't have the space, I'm sorry, I can't take care of you, but
Maybe next week, but now.
I'm willing to share, you know?
Yeah.
It's not
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
The customer is not your property. Like, it's
Exactly.
my customer.
Exactly.
It's not your customer.
Absolutely. And on top of that, I'm helping him out,
Yeah.
you know, making more money or even building up his clientele.
And you're actually helping the customer. The customer needs a haircut. You
Right.
cannot do it. You're already booked.
Exactly.
So you're not losing money because you already booked.
Yeah,
Right? It's not like I'm
absolutely.
losing money. No.
No,
You're
no.
already booked.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's actually how Tico found one of our barbers that are with us since day one. Because someone mentioned, oh, there's this guy. He's a young guy. He's a really good barber.
Mm.
And Tico didn't know him, but Tico started referring clients to him.
What happened back then, I didn't have as much people that I could refer.
Mhm.
And one of my clients was this barber's clients, right?
Mhm.
Cousin.
cousin.
Oh, okay.
And this barber, he's my barber now, Luis. He was living in Brazil, and he was and my client, he was constantly saying, "Hey, my cousin is coming here. Can you help? He's a really good barber." Whenever he came, if I was busy, I say, "This kid just come." I saw his page, and he's really good. I'm booked. Just he's down the street, like 5 minutes from here,
Mm.
and my client used to loved him.
Yeah.
I referred him.
And now we
and-
work together.
Yeah.
That's nice. I mean, it was a win-win for everybody, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's what it's all about, is helping everybody out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're made to do. As barbers, we're made to help one another, help the men in the world. That's our gift, uplift and
Uplift others, but first ourselves, because you only can help, you only can share when
Right.
you have this abundance of knowledge and
Right.
information, right?
right.
Did you have? I believe that like 99% of bar has the dream to open their own shop. Did you ever have the dream to open
Yeah.
your own shop?
Yeah. I've always had a dream of owning my own shop. I've had a dream of owning my own salon. But then obviously that changed. So I went into wanting to own my own shop. But obviously, I was at a point where I didn't have that knowledge, how to run a shop, manage a shop, or manage people or anything like that. And I had to grow first. So what I did was seek out to a barbershop and started working at a barbershop and seeing how to do that. And I was an apprentice. I did, I worked my way through the levels of working at some place, sweeping the floors, cleaning bathrooms, whatever it is.
Whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
But actually, now renting out a suite, you have one shop,
Right.
but you just don't have the team and all the extra stuff. What is so that prepare? You were talking earlier that you're thinking about it. So what is the next step for that? If you really go into have your own shop?
So I mean, there's two routes that I thought about doing. It's going into having my own barbershop, and then I just start employing and having a team, managing a team, or I even thought about owning my own beauty mall, my own beauty suite.
Oh, that's
mall.
amazing.
So, I think times are changing. On top of that, certain goals of mine as far as like wanting to make myself more available to having a little bit more free time
For yourself, for your
for
daughter.
myself and for my daughter. That's probably like my main focus. So that's probably where I'm gonna decide whether to do next or not. But first, I have to continue to build capital and continue, because it takes money to make money, right?
Yeah, I think you can
For
do it.
sure.
I
Yeah.
believe you can do it.
I appreciate it. I know I can, right? I mean,
It's just a matter of when.
right.
It's not if, it's like when.
Right. When.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you prepare yourself, you get there.
right. So that's what I'm trying to do, is prepare my steps so that way I'm able to do it safely and
Yeah.
work up to doing it. Having strategies and stuff like that. So.
Why do you think barbers are going to the suites instead of working in barbershops? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, it's the culture of wanting to be a self-owned person, right? You wanted to work for yourself.
Have more time and flexibility for yourself too.
Right. I think that's another thing, and it's tough because some people, there's some barbershops that aren't really providing for them for their team and stuff like that, and they're not, it depends on who you're working for. I had a great team. The barbershop that I was at, we were very conscious of the projects we were doing. We were, engaging in different photo shoots and trying to just grow and build with each other and stuff like that. But there's some
Was it commission or chair rental? The place you work?
chair rental.
The barbershop?
Yeah. It was the only barbershop that I worked out. And it was only chair rental. that's another thing that's different too, is commission based and chair rental. Um, that can drive barbers to not wanting to work there anymore any longer. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody wants to keep money in their pocket, right? I mean, so they're gonna do whatever's best and whatever's best for them.
If you open your own, what are you gonna do? What are you thinking? Commission or book
Well,
rent?
I think, I mean, there's pros and cons in both of them, right?
Wow,
I
that's
think,
the question. That's the
yeah,
golden question.
That's the golden question, right? I mean, what's gonna work best for everybody? Um, Little by little, I'm learning that commission actually gives the opportunity for everybody to win, right? I mean, gives the opportunity for the barbers to make money, the owners to make money, and everybody's creating that environment that where everybody can grow a little bit more. Um, but it also, I mean, again, I still haven't learned knowledge. I don't know how you run your shop, Tico, but it gives people opportunity to have a more team environment. I guess you can say that you can be able to provide different benefits of working for the shop, right? I mean, I feel like running a chair rental gives an opportunity for the barber to make more money, um, but also gives the influence of being self-employed, right? Like,
You get the feeling that you are your own boss and you make your own
right,
schedule.
I'm
and
only
all
there
that.
to pay for your rent, pay for your chair, and I do whatever I want. So they exclude the team motive or the team
Yeah.
energy, right? So it's like, oh, I don't have to do what the team is doing. I get to do. I can come in whenever I want, do whatever I want, however I want. It's like,
If you do chair rental, you were a landlord. You were in the rental
right,
business.
right,
Now, if you have a commission based or hourly based, if you have them as employees, W-2s,
mm-hmm,
then you were in the people business. You have to
right,
build a team,
right,
which is a completely different route.
right. Yeah, it's completely two different
If you
things.
rent chair, you're just a landlord,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
You have a space, you pay me rent, you're using this amount of space, that's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Completely different.
it kind of leaves that barrier, right? I mean, that whether the barber wants to grow by himself or even be a part of a team. I feel like it's difficult having a barbershop and having that team environment with that concept of only renting out chairs, because like they're gonna feel entitled to themselves and not entitled
Yeah.
to a team,
Yeah.
or a part of a team.
True.
I believe there's a lot of pros and cons. One is if you rent a suite, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have you create your own time, like
Right.
you're saying. You dress as you feeling like to do your own style.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that is a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the pros. You can listen to your own music, the
Mhm.
environment. You don't have to being working at a shop. They might have their culture there. They will listen to just a certain type of music that you can listen to your own and create your own playlist.
Mm-hmm.
There's much more than that. Also,
You can create the experience that you want.
that you want, that's how you are,
Right.
Justin. That's
Exactly.
my way to do things, and
Right.
and in the other side, the cons could be when you work with a team, you can learn from each other.
Right.
Even if it's an advice or a technique
Mm-hmm.
or like more the soft skills side. Maybe some people over there are really good talking, communicating. You can learn from them and how they do.
Yeah.
There's one of them. Working at a shop as a team building, it's very, if you starting the industry, if you're just starting like a year or two in this industry, I truly recommend someone start at a shop because you can build up your own clientele. The shop has already a name and fixed location that people already go there, and you can start building your own clientele and learn from others and then you go to the suite. Since now you have your clientele, you can pay the bills and can
Yeah.
be yourself.
I agree. 100%. I mean, definitely. I don't think going into your own suite is a good idea if you are starting out, especially if you don't have a clientele established. Because if you're not well established, then it's going to be difficult for you to pay the bills and keep up with the bills and stuff. So, working at a shop, and on top of that, the advantage is that you actually learn how to bring in that culture, right? How to learn how to make your own culture, how to acquire clientele. You have that advice, you have that support with your team to build yourself up and grow. At a suite, you're on your own. So the only help that you have is what you seek out, right? You have to seek out other classes and knowledge, and you have to fend for yourself.
And one thing
So-
about the suite or chair rental is if you're taking vacation, if you're out of work, you still own the rent.
Right.
Now, if you work by commission, if you didn't work, you don't make money, but you don't have to pay anything. They're not going
Right.
to charge you.
Right.
Let's say you were sick for 4 days.
Yeah.
Your landlord, the owner of the shop, might say, whatever, you got to pay rent, man. I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But if you work by commission, you don't have to worry about that, paying without being there and working.
Right. Right.
And the barber shop could also offer you benefits that you cannot get on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say discount on products. They buy a big amount of products and they get a discounted price.
Right.
Or even we're learning about this. It's not common in our industry. It's more common in the hairdresser
Mhm.
business, which is even if you were a 1099, mean you're self-employee, you
Right.
have your own hours, but you still share commission with the owner of the shop.
Right.
They can offer you some type of life insurance, dental, vision insurance, very
Right.
cheap that you cannot get on your own. If you're
Mm.
trying to go there and get,
Right.
you won't get as cheap.
Right.
So there's a lot of benefits that the shop could bring to the team. It's different than working by yourself as a suite
suite owner,
renter.
right.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
it goes
again,
back to what you were saying, because not every barbershop will do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's a big part where people are not wanting to work at a barbershop because they feel they can feel that they're being taken advantage of. Right?
Yeah.
It's like they're not able to grow, or there's nothing there to provide. They're not being benefited, right?
Yeah.
What some people might feel entitled, or they're trying to bring more value to the barbershop. And granted, that's what the team is all about, right? We're all in this together. We're trying to build the barbershop, build the brand. And if they don't feel like they're getting benefits or valued for their work that they're putting into, then
Then
they're-
they'll leave.
Then they'll leave. They're
And
gonna want
I
to
think,
leave.
yeah, if you work in a place where the shop owner is not investing in the shop itself, in the structure, in the cleaning, in marketing, in
Right.
providing everything the team needs to
Right.
do a good job,
Yeah.
then it's not fair.
Right.
Because then we're splitting the commission. But as an owner, I have my role to play too.
Right.
And you, as a either employee or subcontractor, you have your role to play too.
Yeah.
So if one side is not doing what it's supposed to do, then it's not fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And it creates off balance, right? And then creates bitterness. It creates a resentment, I guess, to people. And then that's how the culture ends up falling out, and people just start like getting bitter.
so you were working at a shop,
Mm-hmm.
and then you rent out your suite, right? That was a shock for you. Then you realize you're your own boss, but being your own boss comes the responsibilities with
Mhm.
all the overhead, all the costs that you have
Mhm.
every month. You have to market it yourself. How
Right.
was that for you, Justin?
Oh man, I mean,
It's because I'm gonna let you answer. I'm sorry.
yeah. Go ahead.
Because when you work at a shop, the boss over there, whoever's the owner, they are doing everything. We're not kind of seeing what's behind the scene, but
Yeah.
when you become your own boss, you start feeling and seeing
Right.
all that.
Well, it's definitely a different shift, right? I mean, now you have more motivation, more push that the boss is actually helping you out. If you're trying to, we've always been at the other barbershop that I worked at. We've always been into marketing and doing things for ourselves and stuff like that. So it's like I've always never really had that problem of like having to market for myself or anything like that. So when I shifted over to being my own boss, granted, things have changed. It's completely different. I mean, now I've sped up my time slots, so it's like I barely have time to even market for myself. And again, when you're established and you have a loyal clientele, you don't necessarily, not to say that you shouldn't need to market or give up on marketing or anything like that, but it's just I don't need to really market because I don't have any space. I'm booked out a month in advance, and it becomes difficult when you're trying, and very overwhelming, trying to find new clientele and finding space for them. And it's like, so now I just use word of mouth as my marketing tactic, you know.
When you're
So-
booked, like you have two next steps. One is increase your prices
Mm-hmm.
if you're that booked, or the next step is build a team.
Right.
Then you can share this overflow of customers with someone,
Right.
and then you can add people to your team.
Exactly. And that's where I'm at. It's like, all right, you can only do two things. You can increase price so that way you create more space, or you start getting into employing other people, managing a team, so that way you can
Yeah.
provide everybody, you know,
You didn't
service.
decide yet? You're thinking about it?
still in that process, you know. I've just increased my prices actually. So now I charge 55,
Ooh.
and yeah,
Amazing.
so
Just for
it
the
was a big
haircut?
just for the haircut, and
Congrats,
be-
because we need to raise our bars, my friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Barbers always like, como é que fala, diminuir?
Undervaluated?
Undervaluated
Mhm.
ourselves.
Yeah.
That's the culture,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. We think we don't. I mean, it's like guiltiness. You know, you feel guilty because you want to still be able to be affordable for your clients. And you think about your clients more than yourself, but at the same time,
You need to
you're
make a
putting
living.
yourself. Yeah, you need to make a living yourself. You got bills that you have to pay.
You have
family,
dreams
yeah,
you
you
want to
got dreams.
fulfill.
But some
Exactly. Inflation's coming. You know.
Wow, so high.
Raises.
and,
That's
and,
crazy.
and actually, barbers too can't misunderstood that, because you can't just adjust or raise your price, but you had to add value before.
Right.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
first worth,
Yeah.
then you charge.
I think
we
that's the
always
first
do
step,
that.
right? I think that's the first step that you need to take in consideration when you're increasing your prices, right? What else can I do to provide more value to the service to the client
Yeah,
to feel more valued?
exactly. You can just charge more just because you
Just
feel
because,
like,
yeah.
I just feel like raising my prices.
Yeah.
And then it's the same service. You didn't add up anything to the
Right.
client. You know,
Yeah.
I use that as a secret.
Mm.
We always like adding things like value before the client even feeling, but during that time, after like 3 months, they already like, oh, this is new, this
Mm.
is good, and we're not charging the price for that.
Yeah.
And then after a year or half or 6 months, you just
You
when you raise it, they don't even like, okay, but this is a good service,
Exactly.
so I'll pay for it.
Yeah, they see the value already.
They see the value already.
Yeah.
So-
They are
Yeah.
watching. They are
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
know.
Some of them catch on. They're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I see you. But
We
it's
like
okay.
to give
I like
first. Always
Yeah.
give
Give first.
first.
Actually, it's
before
in the
we
Bible,
raise.
right?
right.
Serve first.
Serve. Yeah, be a
Yeah.
servant first. We always have to serve our people, right? I mean,
You know what? One cons that when you work for yourself as a chair rental, like right now, let me explain. I have my team. I kind of multiply myself.
mm-hmm.
So now I'm working 3 days, cutting 3
Mhm.
days per week. So now I'm focused on creating more strategy for the business and grow the business, make them booked,
Right.
and grow the business. And the other business that we have, one is the podcast. So, and another new things that we are working on it, and I'm gonna share with you right after this.
Okay.
Sorry guys. just you, we're gonna
Yeah.
know. So the other side of the cons is you have a limit. Like you
Mhm.
said, you have a ceiling. Then you're gonna be working behind the check constantly, and you're not gonna have more time and couldn't make more money. You only can serve like around, I don't know, 12 clients per day.
Right.
You know, if you work like 8 hours or 12 hours.
Right.
So you have that ceiling. So what is your plan to multiply yourself and have like passive income or?
So that's one strategy of going, right. I mean, you have to multiply yourself in order to be able to create more time for yourself or to create more passive income. So that way you can step away and have the time that you want to do other things to have different streams of income. But I plan to, again, it's not a big plan of mine right now because I'm still trying to figure out what is the best option that's going to be for me and what can I do to help others, right? But yeah, I mean, I wanted to get into real estate. I wanted to start being more of a landlord and get into multifamily homes and stuff like that. So that way I can provide more time for myself as a father, you know. But as far as like the barbershop, that's a very difficult thing too, because I'm in an area where it's very saturated. So it's difficult, and then rent is very, very expensive too. Now that inflation has risen, and then just the areas that I'm in at are very, very, very like expensive. So
I don't know. I don't know if you want to share. If you don't want to, how much you pay for rent there in a suite?
Or maybe just give an average.
Just a given a percentage.
I mean, the average rent is about anywhere from $1,400 a month to $2,000.
Okay.
For one suite?
For one suite.
Wow.
You shared that with me one day, and I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah. And
how many haircuts you have to do just to pay rent?
Exactly.
Right?
You know, that's the numbers issue, right? It's like you have to make sure that you're well off and your clientele is established, so that way you're able to provide and be able to afford that rent, right? Because
so let's say $2,000 divided by 50. You need to do 40 haircuts, meaning one whole week of work,
right,
just to pay rent,
right?
Which is a lot of money.
But that goes for the barbershop too, you know.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but
expensive.
sometimes barbers think about jumping in a suite, and as we were saying, if
easier.
they are not
right
booked, if they don't have a solid clientele, they're gonna fail. Because if you were in a barbershop, it's established place that people look on Google, or they have a clientele coming, they have walk-ins, they have a huge traffic of people coming.
Right.
But on the suite, you're by yourself. No one know you're there.
Exactly.
There is not a big sign barbershop. People don't know you're there. So if you're just starting and you have to make 40 haircuts to pay just your rent, it's a high cost to start.
Absolutely.
If you do the math. But after you establish, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
I think, and it's tough because, I mean, depending on your area too, I'm not sure if the other areas charge around the same price, but I can guess that it is around the same price point. But again, it's just like inflation now.
Inflation's
it's
crazy.
So their landlords are taking advantage as much as they can.
Yeah.
To be able to
profit more.
And obviously they got to make money too, right?
Yes.
So
They are business.
But there is an issue with the property insurances too, that they're charging a lot of money to do the insurance for the property.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on, and in Florida there are so many people moving here. There's no properties available. There's so many factors that are influencing these crazy prices.
Right.
But everything is way more expensive. Like the gloves, we used to pay $6 for a box. Now it's $22 a box. It's crazy.
That's wild.
The products, everything, it's so.
I mean, that's the thing that you have to consider, right? And then when clients look at you, when you increase your price range, they don't know the ins and outs that what you have to deal with being on your own and stuff like that. The products rise, the rent goes up, everything goes up, and it's like,
electricity went up.
Do you actually want to have a barber that has a place to be able to cut your hair? Because, I mean, let alone, you can go ahead and have a house calls, but are you willing to pay for a house call price now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I know a lot of barbers too that are doing house calls, but they're washing out their price.
What do you think about house calls? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's difficult. I mean,
Do you
it's
do?
different. I accept house calls again if they're willing to pay for the price.
How much do you charge for a house call?
At least 200
Okay.
per person.
But of course, you take another 2 to 3 hours just to go
Exactly.
there,
I have to
clean,
take the
cut.
time. I have to take the time to go to your house. Not to mention we're talking about gas that I'm wasting in order to go to you. I have to put myself in an environment that's not set up for me. So lighting is gonna be not where I need it to be.
And you need to bring your own lighting too.
I need to bring my own lighting. I need to bring my tools. Who knows where they're gonna be set up at? You might put me in the backyard where there's gonna be sweat, humidity. I'm gonna be uncomfortable, and then I'll have to take off the hair getting stuck to your face, and you're not gonna get a very quality based haircut, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And then the time that you need to clean after yourself, and then you have to drive back to the other client or home or
right,
to your
or
suite.
wherever. Yeah.
It
I
takes some,
personally don't like house calls. If I was, I'm not a barber, but if
Right.
I was, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Regardless, I wouldn't do it because first you need more time
Right.
to get there, right?
but
It's
at least
risky.
you're charging for it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put my point first.
Okay.
So you're taking the risk because you're driving. You could get into an accident. It could happen
Yeah.
because you're exposing yourself to the street, to traffic. It takes time because there's traffic, especially in Miami. The traffic there is crazy. Then you get there. You have this whole work to set up the room. You don't have the appropriate light. And there's maybe kids running around and the dog and whatever. And the person stops because whatever.
They feel comfortable because they're in.
It's
they're
their
in the
house.
They're their house. So it's like, oh.
And let's say you want to provide them an experience. You cannot do it.
Right.
You cannot do a hot towel shave at home in
No.
the same way you do at the barber shop. You
Right.
don't have the chair to
Right.
recline. So the experience is not good for the client. It
Right.
might be convenient
Right.
because he's there, he doesn't have to leave.
Right.
But it's not. And then you have to clean everything afterwards, and then you have to drive to the next house call. During this time, you could be seeing more people at your space, at your suite, or at the barber shop. You
Right.
can serve more people with more quality, and you can
Mhm.
provide them an experience. And going to the barber shop, it's a man thing.
Right.
It's kind of a culture. Since we're kids,
It's
men
like
is
going to play soccer, you know?
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's part of the man
It's an
culture.
Right. It's an escape. I like to say. You know, you get to escape from reality for a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
not necessarily reality, but you get to
Yeah.
go to your own place. You get to be comfortable. You get to not have to think about work. You don't have to
Yeah.
think about
The kids
family
and
problems
And have some
family
fun because then
situations.
there's if it's a shop, there's more barbers there, and men talk about men thing, and they feel
Right.
comfortable. They talk about soccer, they talk about whatever politics,
Politics. Yeah.
or whatever they want to talk about it.
Right.
And
Right,
they have a coffee or water. In our shop, we serve alcohol, so they can have a beer. They can
Right.
just relax.
Relax. Exactly.
And they're away from the wife, from the kids, from the
Yeah.
problems. They're just there and having their own
time. Mhm.
and it's something good for them. So I don't believe in house calls because of that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a good way to provide services, but of course it's my opinion.
Yeah.
People
I feel
might
like house
it.
calls are I mean, it's a great way for the type of clientele that you want to get, right? I mean, if you were dealing with celebrities,
Oh yeah.
if you're dealing with athletes, you're dealing with, I mean, then that would probably benefit a lot more because those people don't want to be out in public as much,
Yeah.
right? So, those
That's
are
true,
fine.
yeah.
But again, you're paying for conveniency at that point.
But how
So-
many barbers that do house calls will be serving celebrities? Maybe 3%, 5%.
Yeah.
All others will just be
Not
serving
even that. You know?
regular people.
Not a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
especially being in Miami, most of them live in LA and stuff like that. You know, you don't really find that many celebrities out here.
In here, yeah.
right? I
True.
mean, you would deal with more with like athletes, possibly.
Yeah.
You know, so
Some
It depends.
musicians too. Yeah.
yeah,
We've seen some barbers that do celebrities, but only for celebrities, I think house calls would work because, as you said, they won't go to the shop.
right,
They won't leave
More
their
comfortable
house.
for them.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. It's again that it's creating that conveniency for them. But I prefer being at the shop. 100%.
Yeah. You can see more people.
Exactly.
It's convenient. You don't have to go around
No,
places,
just being able
risking
to
yourself.
give that experience to people, right?
Yeah.
Having that more of that vibe where you can sit in, have somebody relax, and we can actually have a conversation and whatever it is that you want to talk about, be
Yeah.
about,
True.
So, quick question for you. So the modern day men are here already. They demanding more from us,
Mm-hmm.
and actually they demanding more from the barbershop environment or the suite environment. How do you see the barbershop 5 years, 10 years from now? The one, especially the ones that it's not seeing that they not provide, they stuck back then with the old culture and doesn't provide much, not quality, I say much experience that
Mm-hmm.
the modern men want,
Yeah.
demanding. So
Yeah.
how you see that these barbershops that are not evolving with the industry, with the whole technology and stuff?
Yeah.
How you see?
In the next 5 years, I mean, I definitely see barbershops not being a regular barbershop anymore. There's going to be a lot more salon-oriented services, manicurists, pedicurists, coloring. We're in a time right now that everything's really like meshing. Um, I mean, especially with technology too. It's like we have scheduling sites online that you're able to just schedule on your own. So I don't know where, as far as technology goes, where that's gonna head. I mean, I hope they don't create some type of robot or anything like that will replace us or anything like that. But
The other day I saw a
who knows?
propaganda about a clipper that does it fades itself.
Fades itself.
You saw that
yeah,
one?
I saw that. I saw that.
You believe
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
You see that?
No, no. I don't think barbers and hairdressers will be ever be
Replace.
Replaced it.
You can't take away the customization, the creativeness from an actual person, let
True.
alone the experience to be able to the connection between humans.
True.
But that's a good question.
What I think the idea of the suites,
Mhm.
like you're saying, you want to build up suites and go through that route.
Yeah.
I think barbers like that.
Yeah.
Barbers like that to have the freedom and flexibility.
Yeah.
I think it's going more through that route.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see a lot more beauty suites opening up. And I mean that's something that's an opportunity for somebody to be able to do something on their own too. I like that idea, because depending on the person, if they want to be by themselves, they can. That gives them the opportunity to work by themselves, do everything on their own, however they want, customize their experience the way they want to. But yeah, I see it going more towards that direction as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Do you use booking software for your appointments?
I do.
Which one do you use?
Right now, I'm using Booksy,
Mm-hmm.
Booksy app. So
How do you like Booksy?
Booksy's nice. It has a lot of the same features with most companies. But what I liked about it is that they have the feature to be able to put yourself on a waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one.
Throughout the day. So if a cancellation shows up, it notifies the person at the time. If they wanted to accept it, they accept it. If they don't, they work with marketing as well. If you'd like to have that feature on, they'll market to people, anybody.
And how do
that's
you
nearby.
handle the appointments? Do you charge your customers a deposit, or you don't charge? How are you handling?
No, I
booking.
charge at the service. So whenever they get the service, I charge there.
What about no shows?
I charge a fee. If they don't show up, then they're charged at full price.
Mm-hmm. And what is your cancellation policy? Like how many hours or days before they have to cancel?
So I have at least 6 hours
Mm-hmm.
to cancel their appointment. Just because of the simple fact that it's actually I feel like that is a good enough time. It helps. It's a lot better, if you get it in 24 hours, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you can do it a day before, it gives you more opportunity to be able to fill in that spot.
Fill in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, my policy starts at that 6 hour mark. If you can't do it within 6 hours, then you're gonna be charged the full price as a no-show. Um,
Do you have a lot of no-shows?
no,
No?
no, I think everybody is already
That's
accustomed
good.
to the schedule. If they don't show up, then they're gonna have to wait out a month or
Yeah.
or at least a few weeks for another constellation. So people have already lined themselves to making sure that they show up, because
Yeah.
if not, then either they lose out on money and they lose out on time to be able to get service. So
That's good.
yeah.
That's
We
good.
we interviewed Stefan, the co-founder of Booksy.
Oh,
You-
okay.
We have an episode. You should go and watch.
I'll check that out.
Man, that guy is amazing. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't met him yet, but a lot of people talk about him.
What
He's a
I like
nice
about
guy.
him, he goes to shop from shop to shop and trying to understand and have more ideas what we need
Right.
as a barbershop,
Yeah.
So I like that about him.
Yeah, I like to. And he's always looking to the future. So he's seeing things where the industry is going and
Mhm.
is already creating the tools that barbers will need.
I think that's super important. You always have to be ahead of the game. Right?
He's
Like, you
so
have to be-
ahead of the game.
You should.
He's a one of a kind.
Right. No,
He's very
it's
smart.
It's very important. I think because again, you can be left behind, and then that's how the business will actually end up either striving or falling
Yeah,
apart.
for sure. I think Booksy, from all the softwares that do appointments, because I know Stefan and we had the opportunity to understand what he's planning with Booksy, he's way ahead of the game. He's preparing things that will really be helpful for the barbers to grow their business. Even if
Mhm.
you're a chair rental, if you're a suite, if you're working commission, whatever. He's creating strategies
Yeah.
through the software that can help you, which is really cool.
Talking about being left behind.
Mm.
What about we were talking the other day. You told me you took the Josh LaMonica class.
Hmm.
So what about you? Are you investing in your education and always?
I've always been in that mindset of continuous growth, right? I mean, especially as, in the men's industry and just being a man itself. Like, if you're not growing, you're being stagnant. You're gonna be left behind, right? So I'm always seeking out for education, whatever I can afford. I think Menspire classes and all these other classes, they are a bigger investment, right? But there's always ways around that you can find other people, other educators that are a little bit more affordable,
Maybe local.
maybe more local. I know you provide education as well at academies. You have an academy, so one. But Josh Malamanca has literally turned the industry around into growth and growing the men's industry to what it is now. He's played a big part, and I think investing in yourself is the key to success, right? I mean,
I truly believe that.
I'm a big believer in that, and if you don't invest in yourself, then again,
Yeah.
you're gonna be left behind. You're gonna be stagnant. You're not gonna grow. You're gonna be seeing the same amount of numbers.
Did you ever thought about being an educator, like teaching and share?
I did. I mean, I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know if education was a big thing for me. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing myself there, but I don't know. That's something that I never really thought about completely. I guess I'm not really into it as much, or I thought that I wouldn't. I guess it's something that I have to deal with myself, because I feel like we, kind of like what we spoke about before, how we undervalue ourselves. We're always putting ourselves down, and we don't think that we're good enough or anything like that. So me being in this whole mindset of growth, I'm always feeling like, oh,
We
I need
never
to
learn
clean.
enough.
I never learn enough, right? So I feel like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. But
Did you ever feel when you cut a hair and then you see like I could do better? It's
always,
never enough for
I'm
us.
never.
It's never enough.
I've been 10 years in the industry, and I still don't think my haircuts are good enough.
I look at my hair. Oh,
You know,
should be
I'm like,
better
man,
than that.
yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah.
especially when you take a picture,
Yeah,
you look at it.
yeah.
And say, oh,
You're like, oh, I could have done something better
Something
there.
better.
Like, I could have done something to make it better or whatever. But I think that's good. I think it's a good thing though. You can use that to your advantage because, again, if you're not complacent, like once you're complacent, you're not growing, and if you're not pleased with your work, that's only gonna push you to try to be better, try to do better every single time, every haircut that comes into your chair. So even asking your clients anonymously, like if you can do a survey or something, asking them how was their service, what can you do better, you know, that's gonna help you change your service and your experience a lot better.
You to become an educator, we always have to sit down and learn first, and then stand up to teach, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that wants to be educated and they want to jump that.
Right.
And one thing I learned is we always know something that people don't know. It's
Mhm.
not about just that technique. Let's
Right.
say you speak English very well, right? And
How do
I
we-
don't. You can teach me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I do speak Portuguese. Let's say you are willing to pay a class with me for Portuguese.
Mhm.
I still have something to teach you. We always have something to teach other people.
Right.
And that becomes to what you were saying, that you want to help people.
Right.
You're really good in what you do. Good guy that I met you before. Wait, like
Yeah.
how many years I met you?
About maybe what 2 years ago.
2 years,
Yeah.
between
Or
two to
was
three?
Yeah, 2 to 3. Was it before COVID or after COVID?
Before.
Before,
COVID.
right? Yeah. So we got pretty close to 3 years there.
I know you have a lot of knowledge that you can teach other people, you know, and
Yeah.
help someone that wants to start in English or a new technique to a barber that now he's struggling with some technique or
Yeah.
whatever. We always can help someone.
Yeah, I think I would want to go more of the local route, right? Not be more of a platform artist. That's what I love about the industry, though. That there's so
It gives
many
you
different. It gives you that opportunity to choose whatever you want to do, which route you want to take, right? I mean, whether it be a platform artist, platform educator, or be a local educator
Local
or something.
educator.
you
What
know?
do you think about barber battles? What's your opinion on that?
I personally don't really like them, because art is very subjective to the person. But I mean, it's only art, right? I mean, what again, an artist is gonna have their own personal way of creating art and stuff like that. So it's like, to the eye of another person, this might not look good compared to somebody else that actually thinks that it looks good, right? Like I've never been into drawing designs on
Me too.
on heads and stuff like that. So, not that I don't think it looks good, but it's just that's not what I provide. I'm more of the classic styles, you know, more shapes and that's where I feel like where I see more artistic stuff. But I mean, to clientele or to clients, like some of them, you know, they like it. They think that it's art. Another thing too, the barber battles create a lot of that competitiveness, right? So it's like, oh, they think that they're better than somebody else or whatnot. So
Whether you want it or not, it has
yeah,
that feeling
it
behind
has that feeling.
Yeah.
It's just like that feeling of competing.
And then the ego grows
the
more
ego.
in our industry. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it's fun. I'm sure it's fun, right? If you can let go of your ego.
And I think it's beautiful what they do.
Right.
I love that, what they do, because we all are artists and everyone shows in a different way.
Right.
But it creates that
Yeah.
more ego in our industry. That's how I think. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
prefer showcasing than battles.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So each one has
I
the
agree.
opportunity to show their work, their art,
Right.
and there's no competition.
Right.
Because the battles create this
Competition.
competitive environment
Right.
where I won, I'm the best.
Mhm.
I won the last 3 battles. I won first place.
Right.
And it creates more ego.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I mean, that's where you take away from the artistic side of things, right? Because this industry is very artistic.
Yeah.
Being able to create something for somebody or create, on your own. So it's like you got that ego, and now you think you're better than everybody else, and um, you're just on the high horse, right? And just you're trying to look down at people, and it's like why do you need to be doing something like that? We're all equal here. We all have our own personal, liking and our personal ideas and artistic views on what
I think
we like.
it puts the person that lost
Mhm.
in a position of shame.
Right.
But there's a lot of pros and cons in that,
Mhm.
But personally, I don't go and I don't like to.
Yeah.
But I think it gives that it help bring up more ego.
Yeah.
So question.
Mhm.
So since you work at a barber shop, now you have your own suite.
Mhm.
How you deal with IRS? How you organize yourself to file your income,
Well, I mean,
file your taxes?
right.
Sorry.
So I have my accountant, and he takes care of all of my accounting services. So we're always setting up a savings account, and we're always setting up you know, ways to be able to make sure that we're prepared to be able to take care of anything that happens. I need to make sure that I take care of my expenses, making sure that my expenses are good write-offs, right? That are you're able to use through your business expense, through your business account, and
You accept a lot of cash there? Yes.
I accept cash. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like now we're becoming more in a world where it's becoming more digital, right?
Less cash.
Less cash. I see a lot less cash nowadays, but I accept it, and I mean, again, you can't really go can't complain or reject any form of payment, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say no to anything.
Babe, can you share the benefits of accepting cards?
Oh, yeah. So some barbershops have ATM machines and they say cash only.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a terrible business model
Mm.
because they think they're saving on taxes,
Mm-hmm.
but they're losing great opportunities.
Mm.
First, like if you accept cards, okay, you have to pay the credit card processing fee,
Right.
but your customer is more willing to pay more to add services to give you a higher tip
Mm.
because like in their
Conscious mind.
like they don't see the money going.
Right.
But if you have a $50 bill in your pocket
Right.
and you feel like, oh my God, I'm giving all my $50 that I had or $100 that I had. So on the card, they're more willing to spend more, especially if they have credit cards, because they know they have time to pay back their statement. And also, if you don't have the money in your account, then you don't take advantage of benefits from the government.
Yeah.
And also, if you're selling your business, if you ever want to sell, maybe it's not something you want to do now,
Right.
but in the future, what value does your business have if there's no income to prove? If you're not actually paying and filing your taxes appropriately, saying, listen, this is how much money we're making, this is how much profit we're making, how someone will buy your business?
Right.
So just being cash business, it's not a good idea
Yeah. It makes.
at all.
I mean, completely. Like, I mean, you're leaving those little, I guess, loopholes, right? I mean, I don't know about loopholes, but what the word to say, but you're leaving your business at confusion because now you have to take in consideration the cash that you're accepting. If you are going to report cash, I think that's another thing too in our industry is that, right? They say cash is king because they don't want to report to
Yes.
the IRS and they don't want to report to Uncle Sam, but now you have to keep in mind and track two different incomes. Now you have to keep in mind your cash and what you're making just in card.
But if you don't report your cash, then you want to buy a house. How are you
Right.
going to have
Long
proof?
term, yeah.
Even if
Right.
you're renting now, you have to prove that you
Proof.
make at least 3 times of the rent. So if the rent is 2,000, you have to have bank statements proving that you have at least 6,000 income for the past 3 months.
Right.
How are you going to prove that if
Right.
you're hiding the cash?
Exactly.
And like you're nobody because you can't have a credit card, you don't build your credit,
Right.
you can't finance a car because you have no history.
Right.
You
Well,
have no income.
Exactly. You have
You're
no
not
proof.
reporting.
Right. If you're not increasing your value, your income as well, I mean, you're more likely to not be accepted by certain banks and loans and stuff like that. So
Yeah. And then if you want to grow your shop, you want to do, I don't know, invest in new chairs, and then you need to get a loan. Who's going to give you a loan
Right.
if you have no money in the account?
right,
Right?
right. The less money you report, the less opportunities you have
You
to
have-
to be able to get investments.
Get
Exactly.
investments.
So
What is your thought in? You think having your own shop is profitable? I think is an asset to be profitability.
mhm.
Is in your mind, in your opinion, is very profitable business to do?
I think. I mean, I think it can be, and I think it can go both ways, right?
Explain.
It's definitely difficult. I mean, you have a lot more expenses to take care of now, right? You have insurances that you have to take in consideration. You have to pay rent.
Invest
for
in
your
marketing,
invest
your
in
accounts.
marketing, your own accounts, your own tools. You're not being provided for.
Supplies,
supplies,
employees,
employees, whatever.
licenses.
Right. So people don't really take that consideration once they're going out on their own. So, and if you're not making enough or charging enough, then you won't profit, right? You'll probably either balance out, but
If you have an empty chair,
yeah, it pushes you to having to work more hours, right? I mean, that was something that I had to do once I became a suite owner. I worked more hours, so I was working from 8:30 in the morning to almost 9:00, 9:30 at night, every day from Tuesday to Saturday, and that took away my time of being by myself. I had to work more in order to be able to provide a life at the barbershop and then a life at home. So it was difficult for me. But it could definitely profit if you strategically, have your business set up in a way that will create profit. It can be very profitable, So, but it can be a struggle at first too.
yeah. Last question. We have a culture that I feel now, I understand now, since we are studying so much and understand more about the other side, the business side. Barbershops, the culture of the barbering industry, barbershop are charging, not charging, I split the commission. Barbershop is staying with 40
Mm-hmm.
and giving out, not giving out,
Yeah, 60%,
sharing
yeah.
60%.
Right.
I don't see for the barbershop that is very lucrative or
Profitable.
profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the culture. And when you are in the other side, in the other position, you have all this overhead cost. At the end of the day, you have to pay from your liquid. You call it liquid?
Right. Liquidity.
Liquidity. And you have, on top of that, you have even to pay the taxes. So
Right.
you stay with very little.
Yeah.
So what do you have any suggestion? What do you think about that? When you become a business owner, because you're thinking about open up not thinking it was one of your ideas.
Right. I mean, that's something. Again, that's something that you have to be willing to take on, right? Because everybody thinks, being a business owner is great.
It's great.
It's gonna be the most profitable thing.
You're gonna have
Hey,
the most
you
time.
even have people outside of the industry that are investors that want to. It's the best business investment because it's cash.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I can. You're literally renting out chairs. It's gonna be profitable.
Start calculating themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So they start thinking that, I'm gonna make more money just opening up a barbershop and then being an owner. But nobody takes that consideration of like, okay, you have the overhead of like what you said, the expenses that you have to take, the insurances, the supplies that you have to provide, the licensing, the taxes that you have to pay as a W-2, the taxes that you have to take in consideration of having employees. You have the taxes of just everything.
Everything.
Right? It's like sales tax. I'm sure you have taxes for providing drinks or whatever it is. I'm not sure about the liquor, but
There's licenses
there's
and insurance.
licenses, insurance, all that you have to take in consideration. So I think people need to build knowledge on taxes, the tax code, learning, getting right with their accounting, and learning about the numbers and how that works, so that way they can think about, is it going to be profitable for them to getting into owning a shop or something like that. It's something that you have to be willing to go for,
Yes.
But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's whether you want that responsibility, right? Like, you want to be an owner, and you want to be a team captain. You want to be want to provide a team, but or if you want to just be by yourself.
If any barbershop owner now trying to change that, like pay like less commission, it won't work.
It won't work.
It's just stagnating the culture.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you're gonna have to. It's all numbers, a numbers game. The more barbers you end up achieving, the more money you can make, the more people that you can provide, the more money you can achieve. But the less you take away, then you're diving into your own pocket, right? You're diving into your own income, because now you need a lot more. You need to find other ways to be able to provide the space. So now I think you grow somewhat resentment against your team.
Amazing. Any other question, babe? Justin, thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Guys,
Thank you
the
so much.
topic today was the pros and cons about having a barbershop or rent out your own suite. So thank you very much for coming. You drove like half an hour to come here.
About 40 minutes, yeah.
40 minutes.
45 minutes.
So I appreciate you coming, my brother.
No problem.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate you, Tico.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for watching. And this podcast is sponsored by Invictus Podcast Studios. My name is Tic Invictus. Follow me on Instagram, Tic Invictus, and all platforms are the same. Again, thank you very much, everybody. Right, babe?
Thank you, guys.